Again, even touching onto the payroll sector and stuff like that, there have been cases where they've been abused through there as well. So,
yeah.
But hopefully, I mean, I know that even shoehorning in IR35 as well. Again, that was another sector that was quite rife, unfortunately, for abuse.
Yeah.
And again, as to how and I know the HMRC is still looking at outlining the team tackling that as well, which is again is a welcome point, because as accountants, as licensed accountants, we make sure that everything we do, we're not only representing ourselves, we're also representing our clients. We live and breathe by our reputation. And same with financial advisors, you are at the forefront of the HMRC's guidelines and stuff like that. So,
how would you broadly define IR35?
So very broad sort of. IR35 was brought out to tackle effectively what's called disguised remuneration. So this is where guys are effectively employees, told what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and what they need to do at what time, by a client, their client, and then paid through a limited company. So therefore, at that point, we're paying a lot less tax than, say, a guy who was an employee who would be paying Class 1 NICs, the company will be paying the employer's NICs, pension contributions, tax deducted at source, whereas through a limited company, the guy could pay a very basic salary, take the rest out as dividends, therefore negating national insurance if they pay themselves at a set rate, and paying tax at that point 7.5% dividend tax rate, or the 32% dividend tax rate for the higher tax rate earners. So instead of the 20% and the 40% tax rates and stuff like that. So the HMRC lost a lot of revenue with that. They brought it out into the public sector many years ago. They brought it out into the private sector about 4 or 5 years ago now, and it's been beset with issues. The CEST tool and stuff like that, which is the HMRC's advisory tool, and whether you're inside or outside IR35 is still in sort of bug phase, really, for want of a better word. There are still people challenging the rules on that as well. But again, I can see the HMRC's point of view on this is obviously they want to try and make sure that everyone's paying the right and the fair amount of tax. Which, again, at times you kind of feel like they've brought a sledgehammer to crack a wall up, because there are guys that are quite clearly that would have been well and truly under IR35, and other guys that are well and truly in the gig economy, where they're just jumping from contract to contract and stuff like that. So
I saw a great worked example of this, and it was dental hygienists. So I know there was a big issue in the dental industry where dentists were making their hygienists self-employed. And some of those tests that were coming in, how much time do they spend working for one company? Do they provide them with the equipment to do the job and things like these? And it was so evident in a lot of these cases that they were working solely for one dentist, one dentistry practice. And I think there was a bit of an issue again. You mentioned pension contributions, that people were avoiding auto-enrolment duties by doing these things. So I know auto-enrolment shed another light on this as well. And so that would be interesting to see. And I think some clarity's been needed in there for a while.
For quite some time. I mean, they're still going through the courts now trying to get clarity on quite a few cases. But again, you've got like you saw again with the dental hygienists, where they were, for want of it, were taking the mickey, really. They were saying, right, you're self-employed, that's it. You see it with certain delivery companies as well. I won't name names, but there are certain ones out there that say to their staff, oh, you're self-employed, so therefore they can get away with effectively not paying them national minimum wage, because you're self-employed. You take the risks. Yeah, you take the risks. You don't have rights to national minimum wage. But then we're going to provide you with a van, we're going to charge you for your mileage, we're going to charge you for your use of your van, and it's like, well,
all those employee connections.
All these employee connections. We're going to invite you to staff parties as well. But again, you wouldn't.
There's some funny, I was going to say, there's some funny underlying tests where HRC will go with this stuff, isn't there?